Hello YouTube. What you see here is the FrankenMac G5. And in about a minute I will tell you what's so Frankenstein about it. So stay tuned. Alright, so why is this the FrankenMac G5? Let me tell you. This looks like an absolutely ordinary FrankenMac G5 with, of course, the single optical bay up there with an optical drive back there. It's a super drive. And of course on the front you have your typical power button and of course your audio ports and USB and Firewire 400. Of course on the side we have a big door. And on the back we have our typical array of ports of the G5, which is of course the latch on the left, the dual the DVI and ADC output on the video card, the airport antenna, the external antenna that is, the external Bluetooth antenna, two Toslink ports, audio out, audio in, two USB 2.0 ports, Firewire 400 and 800, gigabit Ethernet, and a modem. And on the bottom is the power supply. And of course those big circular cutouts that are right there, of course are for the fans, because this is a dual G5 system. As you probably all know, the FrankenMac G5 is very easy to open up. You just pull out the latch, and then you remove the door. Like so. And put it aside. In order to get inside the case, you will also need to remove this acrylic plate. That plate is, by the way, very, very important. If you've never owned a FrankenMac G5 and it does not come with this plate, you're in for trouble. Because this thing directs all of the airflow inside of the G5, and there's a lot of air moving about, I can tell you that. Because the G5s tend to run pretty warm. This is, of course, done to make them more quiet. But yeah, here on the inside you can see the optical drive right there. The hard disk is over there. There is the video card. It's a Radeon 9600 XT. There are, of course, the covers for the G5 CPUs. There is the fan module to cool the CPU heatsinks, or actually to draw in fresh air. It passes through the heatsinks and then out the back. There is a fan to direct the airflow across the video card and the other PCIe slots, also out the back. And there is a fan up there to cool the optical drive and hard drives. Right, so in order to actually reach the RAM, you have to take out this fan module for the intake fans. They look like this. In case you've never seen a G5 in detail, this is the proprietary fan connector that connects to the logic board. So, there of course you can see the RAM. There are 4 slots up there, or down there, and there are 4 slots up there. This thing can take up to 8 GB of DDR memory, PC3200, 200 MHz. So, let's get to the Franken part here. This thing was born, I'll actually take the camera here. Let's see if we can, let's take it off the tripod. You probably really can't see that, but there it says, on that sticker, it says 1.8 GHz DP, 1 GB 400, 80 GB SD, 9600 XT keyboard, Netherlands. There we go. So, this would indicate that this is, in fact, an early 2004, actually, I think in June 2004 is what they were called, FrankenMac G5. The thing is, this thing is no longer a 2004 model. Because, well, this is the 2004 mainboard. There we go. So, let's inspect the mainboard more closely to spot the differences. But we're doing the old switcheroo in terms of camera standpoint, but oh well. So this is the 2004 mainboard. It's pretty much the same all across the board, aside from the fact that this is the base model from the June 2004, which only has 1, 2, 3, 4 RAM slots. This can only take up to 4 gigabytes of RAM. And of course it has you know, the same CPU sockets, but yeah. The problem with this board, pretty much everything else is the same, is that one of the CPU sockets, actually the top one, is defective. When I got the FrankenMac G5, it would not boot. Put some memory in it, it finally would boot, but you know, once it had to boot something off the hard drive or off a DVD, it would immediately freeze, indicating a kernel panic. I obtained a copy of Apple hardware test for the G5 that fired up sort of, but it claimed that the CPUs needed to be calibrated in order to work properly. The thermal calibration, that is. For that you need the Apple service diagnostics. Finally actually got a copy of that as well, put it in, booted it up, tried to calibrate the fans, and it just said, nope, the EEPROM on CPU 0 has failed, you need to replace the CPU. So, as a moron, of course what did I do? I bought new CPUs for the board. Put them in, still said CPU 0 EEPROM error. So that pretty much led me to the conclusion that CPU 1 socket is actually dead, because I used the correct part number for 2004. Original CPUs were not actually an official part number for this model. Still said it had the same problem, so the main CPU socket on this board is pretty much toast. That is the master socket. Much like IDE hard drives, FrankenMac G5 CPUs are set up in a master and slave config. However, on a G5, the slave cannot work on its own. It needs its master to work. So it's pretty much the dominatrix CPU and the slave CPU that need to work together in order to make things hot. Very bad. Very, very bad. That's a very, very, very bad comparison. I'm sorry that you guys had to hear that. But yeah. So, since the master is dead, the slave socket cannot work on its own. It needs the master CPU in order to boot correctly. So, I went on the Linus Tech Tips forum. A guy here that lives about, I don't know, 50 kilometers from here actually contacted me and said, hey, I've got a shit ton of, I don't know if they work, FrankenMac G5 parts. He had a 2003 logic board with 2 gigahertz CPUs, and he figured, you can always try it out and see if it works. And guess what? They actually work. So this is pretty much the 2004 with its original parts, aside from the CPU and logic board. And has a different hard drive, so it's pretty much not original at all. Well, yeah, the optical drive and the video card are original. The rest of it has been changed. So, that is, in fact, the outside tour and the inside tour of the FrankenMac G5. But, does it in fact still run? Because I haven't tested it out in a while. Let's find out, shall we? Let's hook it up, power it up, and see what it does. Alright, she's all hooked up. Let's press the power button. Through the speakers, like any FrankenMac does. Oh, that's nice. By the way, don't pay attention to that ugly, fugly keyboard, because I know that thing is hideous. Let me zoom in here for a little bit. There we go. Let's take a look how she boots up. And now quickly actually, because this thing is running Leopard. There we are. There we go. Let's ignore that. It now says dual 2 GHz PowerPC G5. There we go. macOS 10.5.8. 3 gigs of RAM. We've got two 1 GB modules and 4 256 MB. Let's take a look at ATA. Doesn't have what? No ATA. Oh. I thought the optical drive was ATA, but oh well. So here's the hard drive. It's 320 GB Western Digital Caviar. It's actually the drive that came with my Mac Pro when I had it. But that's gone now. And here is the video card. ATI Radeon 9600 XT, 128 MB of RAM. Supports Quartz Extreme and all that good stuff. Does not have an airport card or Bluetooth or anything like that. I might order an airport Extreme card for it. They're pretty cheap, but the antennas are kind of hard to get hold of. I did have one on my early 2005 and I was gutted that actually sold that machine. I actually wanted to keep it because that thing was awesome. And this one is a little bit more on the loud side of things. Temperatures are good though. You can see them right there. The hard drive is 18 degrees Celsius. CPUs are below 30. Now yes, that is in fact accurate. Let's shut her down. Boom, and it's off. So that was my video on my FrankenMac G5. Dual 2 GHz, 3 gigs of RAM, Radeon 9600, 320 gig hard drive. Very nice little system. Not quite sure what I will do with it, but I've tweaked it to run more quietly, to run more, well, stably, because I actually just removed a shit ton from Leopard. So it's more stable, it's quicker, and it's faster. Yes, I know quicker and faster are the same thing, but I wanted to add it anyway. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I thank you all for watching. And if you have, something to add to the channel, if you want to see something specific, of course, leave a comment, leave your like, dislike, whatever you feel like it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Just leave a comment saying what you want to see on the channel, and I will make it happen if I can find the time. So, see you guys in the next video.